Today I'm going to talk about the Succubus Spirit, and I actually saw one, and this is my experience. We have a woman in my church who's very prominent, who actually runs the youth group with me, and she has a collection of fairies, in her house, which drives me crazy, because really what fairies are, and what fairies were historically, they're demons. I mean, they're demons that maybe a specific type of demon, I don't know, but they are what I've learned as succubus spirits, and I'll explain that in this video. So there was a succubus spirit that presented itself and made itself into my home many years ago, at a time when I had a small family that needed to stay here. I had met them at a church and then at the food bank, and I asked them to come and stay with me. They had a bunch of kids, and the kids watched a lot of cartoons, and in particular there was a little girl in the family, and they had gone through a lot, and she would watch cartoons with the other kids, and I noticed and observed once in a while she would separate herself, and she would kind of lie on her stomach, almost as if she was overwhelmed by what she was watching. And I thought, well, maybe she's very, very sensitive. She might have PTSD from something, God knows what. And the other kids hardly even noticed. I mean, they didn't say anything. They kind of went along with it. So apparently she'd been doing this for some time, and they were all aware of it, and it was accepted as part of normal behavior. And so I kind of kept an eye on her. I wondered about it, but I kind of accepted it too after a while, She would lie on her stomach, and she would usually lie on one of her arms. So it was kind of a protective thing. And one day I noticed, I was kind of looking over or whatever, and I noticed that she had her arm that was under her body actually in her pants. And I thought, how, this is just a young child. Are they masturbating? They separated themselves, they laid down, and is that what's going on here? So that was a little disturbing to me, and I thought, well, maybe she had been abused. The former landlord had thrown them out and had thrown away all their clothes and stuff. I thought, well, maybe there was some abuse that took place there, and I didn't know enough facts, so I kind of kept my mouth shut. So anyway, I was asleep in bed one morning, and I was kind of dreaming away, and all of a sudden I realized that there was something like on my chest. And at that time I had 3 cats. 2 of them were big males, and once in a while they'd climb on top of me and they'd sleep, So I thought maybe one of the tomcats was sleeping on my chest, and but the thing was like vibrating, and it had almost sounded like there were wings beating, but very, very rapidly, like an insect, like a bumblebee. And as I kind of focused in on it, and I know witches call this dream walking, where you're actually awake while you're asleep, and it was saying things to me. It was talking, and as I focused in, it was saying things like, don't you think I'm beautiful? Don't you want to have relations with me? Don't you think this is wonderful? Oh, this is so great. I'm so beautiful, and you and I are so perfect for each other. And it went on, and it was trying to seduce me. It wanted me to have like an X-rated dream with it. And but it was very physical. It was on top of me, and it was actually vibrating, so it was almost feeling good too, And as I observed it, it had the body, like a very tiny body, but a beautiful face. And the face was, I don't know how this works, but it was almost like human sized. And as I looked at it, and she was so pretty, very beautiful. And she realized that I was awake and that I was observing her, and she turned around, she looked at me, and she said, don't you think I'm attractive? Don't you think I'm beautiful? Don't you think we should be lovers? And as I looked at her, I knew that it was a demon. There are no such things as fairies. And so I looked at her and said, well, I wonder what it is you really look like. And all of a sudden she got this look on her face like she was hurt, and then a scowl, and then her face changed as I watched it, and it became a demon face. Like, it was horrible. And then she beat her wings and buzzed loudly and flew off. So lo and behold, this thing was nothing more than a demon, and an ugly one at that. How many people through history have been visited by these things and deceived by them? And I actually know somebody else. I have a video out there about Mike, which I did about 3 weeks ago, and he claimed that one of these things came to visit him every week. So I guess it's pretty common, and I guess people have these dreams. I know once in a while I get one of those dreams too, and I wonder now if it's because a demon has visited me in my sleep. Pretty scary thought, huh? But anyway, that wasn't the end of this story either. So weeks later, I heard a noise. The little girl that I mentioned earlier was sleeping. She was sound asleep. And all of a sudden, she was jerking around in her sleep, and she began to cry, and something was assaulting her in her sleep. And guess what it was? So, I baptized this girl after this, and I didn't do it on my own. She came to me and asked me if I would baptize her. What little kid does that? So, my praying over her, I believe the Holy Spirit somehow got a hold of her or began to protect her, and she actually asked me to be baptized. How does she even know what baptism is? I never really understood it for a long time either. It's a contract with the living God. So that was pretty amazing, and she's baptized to this day, and that thing has not returned.